The young man quickly climbed, cat-like, down the unfinished facade from the roof of the church's portico, and from it leapt, cloak flying, to land in a crouch, safely in their midst. They gathered round expectantly. "Silence, my friends!" He held up a hand to arrest a last lone shout. He smiled grimly. "Do you know why I called you, my closest allies, here tonight? To ask your aid. For too long I have been silent while our enemy, you know who I mean, Vieri de Pazzi, has gone about this town slandering my family, dragging our name in the mud, and trying in his pathetic way to demean us. Normally I would not stoop to kicking such a mangy cur, but—" He was interrupted as a large, jagged rock, hurled from the direction of the bridge, landed at his feet. "Enough of your nonsense, Grullo," a voice called. The young man turned as one with his group in the direction of the voice. Already he knew whom it belonged to. Crossing the bridge from the south side, another gang of young men was approaching. Its leader swaggered at its head, a red cloak held by a clasp bearing a device of golden dolphins and crosses on a blue ground over his dark velvet suit, his hand on the pommel of his sword. He was a passably handsome man, his looks marred by a cruel mouth and a weak chin, and though he was a little fat, there was no doubting the power in his arms and legs. "Buonasera, Vieri," the young man said evenly. "We were just talking about you." And he bowed with exaggerated courtesy while assuming a look of surprise. "But you must forgive me. We were not expecting you personally. I thought the Pazzi always hired others to do their dirty work." Vieri, coming close, drew himself up as he and his troop came to a halt a few yards away. "Ezio Auditore, you pampered little whelp. I'd say it was rather your family of pen-pushers and accountants that goes running to the guards whenever there's the faintest sign of trouble. Codardo!" He gripped the hilt of his sword. "Afraid to handle things yourself, I'd say." "Well, what can I say, Vieri, ciccione? Last time I saw her, your sister Viola seemed quite satisfied with the handling I gave her." Ezio Auditore gave his enemy a broad grin, content to hear his companions snigger and cheer behind him. But he knew he'd gone too far. Vieri had already turned purple with rage. "That's quite enough from you, Ezio, you little prick. Let's see if you fight as well as you gabble." He turned his head back to his men, raising his sword. "Kill the bastards!" he bellowed. At once, another rock whirled through the air, but this time it wasn't thrown as a challenge. It caught Ezio a glancing blow on the forehead, breaking the skin and drawing blood. Ezio staggered back momentarily as a hail of rocks flew from the hands of Vieri's followers. His own men barely had time to rally before the Pazzi gang was upon them, rushing over the bridge to Ezio and his men. All at once, the fighting was so close and so fast that there was hardly time at first to draw swords or even daggers, so the two gangs just went at each other with their fists. The battle was hard and grim, brutal kicks and punches connected with the sickening sound of crunching bone. For a while it could have gone either way. Then Ezio, his vision slightly impaired by the flow of blood from his forehead, saw two of his best men stumble and go down to be trampled on by Pazzi thugs. Vieri laughed and, close to Ezio, swung another blow at his head, his hand grasping a heavy stone. Ezio dropped to his haunches and the blow went wide, but it had been too close for comfort, and now the Auditore faction was getting the worst of it. Ezio did manage, before he could rise to his feet, to wrestle his dagger free and slice wildly but successfully at the thigh of a heavily built Pazzi thug who was bearing down at him with sword and dagger unsheathed. Ezio's dagger tore through fabric and into muscle and sinew, and the man let loose an agonized howl and went over, dropping his weapons and clutching at his wound with both hands as the blood belched forth. Scrambling desperately to his feet, Ezio looked round. He could see